Good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's virtual connect. My name is Nilesh Srivastava and I'm working as area manager in AstraZeneca. So today we are presenting overall asthma control where to start and presented by Dr. Nitin Rathi. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them into the chat box in your Zoom control panel. All the questions will be answered at the end of the meeting. Now, without further ado, I'll turn the time over to Dr. Nitin Rathi, our presenter today, who is a well-known pulmonologist, respiratory, critical care, and sleep disorder specialist, currently associated with Max Super Specialty Hospital, Delhi. He has done his MBBS from Meerut University and DNB in respiratory medicine from LRS Institute of TB and Respiratory Diseases, Delhi. With an extensive experience of over 15 years, he has been widely acknowledged for his versatile and patient-centric approach. He believes in promoting health awareness and follows a healthy lifestyle. Not only this, but Dr. Rathi is also actively involved with various NGOs and societies for organizing numerous wellness programs that includes free healthcare camps for weaker section of society, free drug dispensing, and other health awareness lectures. So with this, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Nitin Rathi. Yes, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nilesh, giving me this opportunity. Good evening, dear colleagues. As we know, as a clinician, we see asthma patient in day-to-day practice. All we diagnose asthma, treat asthma, but when we can say asthma is properly controlled. Now, this is the topic of discussion today. As we all are passing through the era of the COVID-19, and now the COVID is decreasing. But before starting this session, this is a very important slide relation into COVID and asthma. Advise patient with the asthma to continue taking prescribed asthma medication, particularly inhaled corticosteroid, oral corticosteroid if prescribed. Some patient thinks because of inhalers or because of medication, their immunity get low and they get COVID infection simultaneously. This is a misbelief. We have to continue all the medication, especially patient if the patient on biological therapy also. Make sure that all the patient have a written asthma action plan with the instruction, because all the patient cannot come into the hospital and all the patient cannot do online consultation. So all patients have well written asthma control action plan, when to increase medication and decrease medication. And simultaneously we have to avoid nebulizer when the patient is in the hospital, because it can increase the virus in the hospital. We have to give nebulizer inhaled medication through pressurized meter dose inhaler via spacer rather than nebulizer. We start this session with a simple case. A case of 33-year-old female with uncontrolled asthma associated with frequent symptoms. A 33-year-old female presented in a shortness of breath and non-productive cough, worse at night. Her symptom deteriorated during winter and did not improve later. She was diagnosed with asthma at the age of 12 and prescribed with reliever and budesonide inhaler. She was asymptomatic until she was restarted inhaled corticosteroid. Now she needs reliever 3-4 times in a day, like SABA, and she has multiple night time awakenings requiring higher relieving dose, and she is a teacher by profession and take frequent breaks from the regular classes. It means she was diagnosed asthma at very early age. She is taking properly reliever and corticosteroid inhalers. Still her disease worsen. On clinical examination, she speaks full sentences, respirate 20, pulses 90, PEFR is 320 liter per minute, and she had mild expiratory wheeze on auscultation. So in this, why when the lady is young, no risk factor, why and patient is taking asthma inhalers regularly, why she is deteriorated? Treating to control symptom and minimize the risk. First of all, as this is a asthma is a chronic disease, we have to establish a very good rapport with the patient, because sometimes patient is had repeatedly exacerbation, patient is not asthma control, patient frequently visit to doctor. There should be very good rapport with the doctor and patient. Manage asthma in a continuous cycle. We have to regularly assess the patient, continually see the risk factors, adjustment to the treatment, simultaneous pharmacological, non-pharmacological. We have to give steroid, inhaler medication. We have to see GERD. We have to see allergic rhinitis, non-pharmacological like steam, exercise, and vaccinations. Teach and reinforce essential skills. Simultaneously, we have to regularly check the whether the patient is taking his medicine in proper way, like inhalers. Patient is adherent to his or her treatment, and guided self-management education, like a well-written asthma plan. His patient is doing self-monitoring or not, and regular medical review. Diagnosing asthma, we have to take proper clinical history. Patient has any allergic history. On clinical examination, patient has dyspnea, wheeze, tightness, any allergic history, risk factor for asthma development, and consider occupational asthma for the adult. Like in this case, patient is teacher and she may be taking classes with chalk also. Objective evidence, we have to do spirometry and bronchoprovocation test. Now this test is done in a institution only, because it can cause severe allergic reaction also. Ancillary tests like chest x-ray, eosinophil level, Ig level, allergic testing, exhaled nitric oxide test, and induced sputum for eosinophil. And eosinophil Ig level is also mandatory, because there is some therapy biologicals which in severe asthma which we can mediate through eosinophil or Ig level. Uncontrolled symptom, when we say the asthma is uncontrolled, in mild, in 1 to 2 times in a month, moderate 1 to 2 times in a week, and severe, totally uncontrolled asthma every days or most of the days. Indian patient perception of asthma control versus clinical assessment. This is an important slide. When the Indian patient says our asthma is well controlled, it is reported as 69%, but according to GINA guideline, it may be as low as 0%. Partially controlled patients say 31, but it is maybe 60% uncontrolled. It means sometimes patients say the patient is not dyspneic on rest, but the patient has simultaneously allergic rhinitis, exertional breathlessness, frequent cough at night, a frequent night awakenings. All these symptoms patient taken as granted. Why the use of SAVA is restricted? As we all, our conventional teaching is this: we have to use regular medication, but we have to use salbutamol on SOS basis. High SABA use increase the risk of progression to the more severe disease by 79%. This slide shows that when we asthma is uncontrolled and we use SABA on regular basis, then asthma progresses slowly and slowly. When we use 3 or more SABA per year is an indicator of increased risk factor of the severe attack. Beta agonist used before hospital attendance for the severe asthma exacerbation post hoc analysis. If patient has any started asthma exacerbation and he is not taking proper anti-inflammatory like inhaled steroid, patient using SABA, there is very much likely to have severe exacerbation and patient get likely to admitted in the hospital. Regular or frequent use SABA is associated with adverse effect also. Beta receptor downregulation, it means effect of bronchodilation is less, decreased bronchoprotection, rebound hyperresponsiveness, decreased bronchodilator response, increased allergic response, and increased eosinophilic airway inflammation. According to GINA guidelines, SABA only treatment is associated with increased risk of the exacerbation and the lower lung function. It means when the patient is in exacerbation and we only use SABA, so there is increased risk of exacerbation, there is more damage. If there is persistent more damage in the progression, there is a lung function FEV1 is decreased. SABA overuse is a huge problem. Asthma is an anti-inflammatory and fluctuating disease. All we know, patient naturally seek immediately symptom relief because SABA has onset of action. Onset of SABA is very fast. That's why it is given in the asthma exacerbation. Overuse of SABA alone is a safety problem because of the, as I told, cardiac side effects and palpitations. SABA is no document recommended by GINA. Only SABA is not now recommended. Use of SABA treats the symptoms. As I know, it do the bronchodilation very fast, but not underlying cause of inflammation because we are not giving steroids simultaneously. SABA overuse is a likely but wide problem. Need to look beyond asthma control. Overall asthma control, there should be, as a specialist, there should be two motives. First is current control in the now, and we have to look for future risk also. In current control, we have to control symptoms, we have to minimize reliever use, we have to increase the functional activity of the patient, and we have to preserve the lung function now. And in future risk, we have to stop the worsening of the disease, we have to minimize the exacerbation, we have to preserve the lung function as much as, and we have to minimize the adverse medication effects of the medication. Problem with control based strategy of the asthma management. Symptom control is not complete or permanent. As I told, in Indian patient, if mild symptoms are taken as a complete asthma control, even mild asthma can result in asthma death if the patient has simultaneously other comorbidities. So mild asthma can initiate other destabilize the body and can cause the death. Many patients do not achieve symptom control, and symptom control does not mean no future risk. It means we have to see in a patient as a whole and give a holistic approach to the patient to give the proper treatment. GINA assessment of the asthma control. Symptom control. In the past 4 weeks, has the patient had daytime asthma symptom more than twice a week? Any night walking due to asthma? Reliever needed or for symptoms more than twice a week? Any activity limitation due to asthma? There is a chart. If none of these, asthma is well controlled. Is the one of two of these partially controlled, or three of four these? It means uncontrolled. Risk factor for the poor asthma outcome. Assess the risk factor, whether the patient is taking treatment properly or not, if the patient lifestyle is good or not. Measure the FEV1 at the start of the treatment and regularly check up of FEV1 after the gap of 3 to 6 months, and assess the patient risk for exacerbation and fixed airflow limitation and medication side effect. As per GINA 2020, uncontrolled asthma is the exacerbation risk factor, and modified risk factor are high SABA use. We can change the medication, we can add the steroid simultaneously. We have to preserve the lung function. We have simultaneously take care of other comorbid condition, and we have to minimize the exposure to allergic allergic agents. Differential effects of the LABA and ICS on the asthma control and the exacerbation. In this slide, we have give in exacerbation for per patient only steroid, budesonide combination with formoterol, high dose of steroid, and high dose of steroid and the formoterol. This slide clear cut shows when we give proper dose of steroid and the formoterol, the severe exacerbation frequency are less, and the episode free days simultaneously with the budesonide and formoterol combination. Updates on the formoterol budesonide as a maintenance and the reliever regimen approach. Maintenance and reliever therapy in a vanilla era. Budesonide and formoterol has been recommended by GINA since 2006 for the treatment of the moderate to very severe asthma, bronchodilation, and the inflammatory control. By budesonide, it gives inflammatory control, and by formoterol, it is give proper bronchodilation. Treating early inflammation prevent future exacerbation risk. As we give steroids simultaneously from the very beginning, it causes the less inflammation, less fibrosis, and asthma remains the reversible disease. As we see in the old, sorry, old, according to old GINA guideline, we when the patient in the exacerbation in step 3, step 4, step 5, we have to give LABA, and we have to increase the inhaled corticosteroid uh, doses, and simultaneously add other agents also. But now in major changes GINA 2020, they say the fixed combination of formoterol and budesonide can be prescribed as a in the maintenance and the reliever therapy. We can increase the inhalation of the same inhalation in acute exacerbation. As I discussed, this is the new कि same inhaler can be used in maintenance as a reliever and maintenance. Formoterol, एक मिनट यार ये क्या हो गया, sorry, this is the slide which shows if we give formoterol based with ICS combination and versus with salbutamol, the relief is the onset of relief is the same, because the onset of the onset of action of salbutamol or formoterol is the same. The unique properties of this combination is this. As formoterol work as fast as the SABA, as I have already discussed, formoterol and the budesonide has a similar safety profile to the salbutamol. It also has the lower side effects, and total daily dose of the more than 8 inhalation is the normally, which is not needed, but we can give up to 12 puffs of the formoterol and the budesonide combination. It means it can used as a reliever maintenance therapy and the reliever therapy, and rapidly dissolve in the mucus layer of the airways formoterol. So onset of action is fast, and ICI and in the budesonide absorption time is 6 minutes, and the beclomethasone or fluticasone absorption time is more than 5 hour, 8 hour. So both formoterol and the budesonide onset of action is very fast. Budesonide, formoterol, maintenance and reliever regimen, symptom control is much better, as asthma control says defined as no daytime symptoms, no nighttime symptoms, no night awakenings caused by asthma, and no needed medication use. As we see in the study baseline, Symbicort baseline is 5.8 and treatment is 41. If we use Symbicort, asthma control is approximately 7 times better than the conventional treatment. Again, the post-hoc analysis of the combination of formaldehyde and budesonide compared with the ICS and LAVA other combination, effect is same. Again, this slide shows exacerbation is much less than budesonide and formoterol combination. Need of oral steroid per day decrease with the budesonide and formoterol combination. Patient attitudes towards the asthma management, majority prefer the self-adjustment of the treatment. These are the points. Patient want to manage his asthma himself or herself. He used his medication as and when necessary, and I am confident to intervene early. I want to immediate relief. So by using same medication, same inhaler as a maintenance and reliever, we can achieve these kind of points with the patients. In a real world study, formoterol budesonide as needed use was low, with up to 66% of the disease being free and the additional needed inhalations. It means if we use smart therapy, exacerbation, use of reliever medication are 66% are less. One inhaler therapy, most extensive clinical evidence. There are these kind of objective are research in the 23,000 patient. 7 landmark studies supports this statement. GINA also recommended, and the lesser patient burden. Adherence to treatment. This is also a very important thing. We have to counsel the patient, as we discussed in the start of the discussion. There should be very good rapport between the doctor and the patient. When the patient becomes symptom free, he become not adherent to treatment, and patient come into the exacerbation. So we have to regularly discuss with the patient. Adherence to the treatment is must. Role of inhaler device in the asthma management. This is also a very important slide. Ki what kind of device we have to give the patient, whether when we choose nebulizer, when we give spacer with MDI, when we give DPI, according to age, socioeconomic condition, disease condition, personal acceptance and training. If the patient is too old or too young, we have to give definitely nebulizers. If the patient is young, then patient can take inhalers and DPIs. Socioeconomic condition, if the patient IQ is low, patient is belonging to village, then patient can give we have to give inhaler with the spacer or nebulization. If that patient is in exacerbation, definitely we have to go with the nebulizer or a special device like turbohaler. Its uh, deposition is very good. Personal acceptance, it should be given priority. And training, we have to train the patient. Device efficacy, delivery to site of the action, as in DPI with the turbohaler, it is more than 28, it is 28 to 30% with the turbohaler. What is the design, whether the patient is comfortable to use it or not. Consistent doses, in sometimes the in the last puff of the inhaler, the dose of the drugs become less. And ease of use, patient should be used inhalers or device easily. And definitely the cost and the formulation, uh, in DPIs and inhaler, we have to simultaneously look the whether the drug is stable or not. Reason for poor asthma control, incorrect choice of inhaler and poor technique. Definitely all we know, if the patient is not going to take inhaler properly, or we have given the wrong device to the patient, patient cannot take medicine properly, and patient will end up ultimately into the acute exacerbation. Assess inhaler technique, we have to assess inhaler technique each and every time, or at least if the patient is new, at least the 3 times we have to check the inhaler technique, and one time by doctor also. This is the about the turbohaler. They give in the COVID era, this is the number by which they people give the virtual device demonstration through WhatsApp video call. Ideal inhalation device should provide ease to use to eliminate the potential incorrect use and technique. FE, effective delivery of the drug even if the patient technique of the coordination is poor. High levels of the drug deposition only in the lungs to provide the active drugs to required tissue and minimize systemic distribution. Uniform and consistent deposition of the drug delivery and the accurate amount of the drug repeatedly and consistently. Option to administer multiple doses in succession without need to reload the device. This slide something about turbohaler. Finally, the last device, communicating diagnosis to asthma and patient identity. What is called when the patient comes to in your clinic with the symptoms, he asks, what is my diagnosis? You have to counsel them, because asthma still is a taboo in the society. We have to counsel him and make him administer what is his or her diagnosis. Perceived cost, what caused it? In the young people, most probably it is genetic, allergic, and in old age, it may be due to occupations and weather changes or smoke. So we have to identify the cause and help the patient to make distance to them. That's why the exertion become less. Timeline, what next hand, how long the what the pattern. This is again a counseling time. Simultaneously, when we prescribe inhaler, it is a taboo in the society. Simultaneously patient asks, I am not going to take this inhaler, or if I am going to take it, how much, till when I have to take inhaler. So you have to counsel the patient, it is a delivery device, it is nothing else, it has a drug, whereas hand help in the taking the medicine to the mouth, inhalers helps taking the medicine to the lungs only. It means it is only a delivery device. You have to take the medication according to your disease. Consequences, what can and cannot I do now? You have to tell them, if you are not going to take medicine, what the consequences going to happen, and you have to teach the lifestyle and medications. That's why they take their asthma treatment in a proper way. Curability and controllability, you have to clear cut explain them कि asthma cannot be curable, it is a controllable, but it can be controlled in a way कि it may be curable for a longer time if you take the medicine in a proper way and have a healthy lifestyle, have a exercise, take vaccination on time. You also have a very long symptom free and drug free time also. Thank you for patience listening.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rathi. We have couple of questions in the chat box. Okay. Sir, what's your view on salmeterol fluticasone combination, and which one is better for asthma patient, whether it is salmeterol fluticasone or budesonide formoterol?
As we discussed in this slide, uh, in exacerbation, when the patient is in the exacerbation, you need faster and immediate control. Formoterol have a higher lipid solubility. Because of higher lipid solubility, its onset of action is very fast in comparison to salmeterol. Again, budesonide have a highest lipid solubility in the simultaneously group in beclomethasone and fluticasone. When the lipid solubility is high, it goes into the blood very fast and give immediate relief. That's why budesonide and formoterol combination is better than and superior in the immediate as a reliever therapy than salmeterol and fluticasone.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We have another question. What's your view on what is your experience on Symbicort device? Is it advanced than other devices available in the market?
Simply, it is definitely advanced. In other devices, simply we give budesonide in a 400 milligram, 400 micrograms. In this, we give 320 because of the efficacy of the highest deposition, deposition of the drugs into the lungs. The dose we needed is less, so it means it is a superior because we have to give lesser steroid to gain the same result as we have achieved in devices which contain 400 microgram budesonide, and it is a very easy device. And now the one factor is this ki cost. Now the cost is similar to other devices. It means in my view, Symbicort is superior to other device.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Next question is your view on role of bronchial thermoplasty in severe persistent asthma.
It is a evolutional. It is done in a very fewer center. It is a very time consuming because it cannot be can do in a very in a one successive session. We have to take repeated session. We have to go in one bronchus first, second bronchus first, and expertise are very less because in which we break the fibers by thermal ablations. Expertise are less. It is a choice of treatment of exclusion kind of things. Simultaneously, much before biologicals are there, if the patient is Ig mediated, eosinophil mediated, mepulizumab kind of things, omalizumab are there, so then we can do thermoplasty. Lekin it is in a costly process, lengthy process, and expertise are less, so it is recommended in a selected cases only.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We have another question. Which combination of ICS LABA is safe in post-COVID treatment?
As per se, all ICS LABA are safe. Risk are if the patient is immunocompromised, patient is simultaneously having some immunocomorbidity, So inhaled steroid can cause the fungal infection kind of things. It can, if the patient is on if infection, but as per particular any salt, it is not going to make any effect. If patient is taking any kind of inhaler, same inhaler can be continued during COVID and after COVID.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. I think we have one last question. Comparing, I think, I don't know, when comparing Symbicort versus Synco Breath. What is your view on Synco Breath device available in the market?
Syncomate is also a very good devices. It is one of the favorable devices of me. Uh, Syncobit and Seroflow, Syncobit and Symbicort Turbo Healer is the same, but as the device, as such, I say in turbo healer, the deposition of the break of the drug particulates is so refined. When we take drug from turbo healer, some of the my patients says, "Ki, sir, we are not going to feel we are taking any kind of drug also." So in drug, the deposition, drug division, particulate matter is so less with the turbohaler technology. Is in that way the device is better. Again, I told you we are using 320 microgram budesonide in this and 400. So definitely the particular matter is very less in this. So my choice is Symbicort.
Thank you, sir. We have one more question. I think more or less you are answering to this, but still, doctor, can you share your experience on Symbicort and what merit you see in Symbicort?
Pardon, please, pardon.
Can you share your experience on Symbicort and what merit you see in Symbicort?
Merit, it is a, first of all, it is a drug DPI. It can be easily carry in the pocket, on the purse, ladies purse. It is a very simple device, and drug deposition is less, oral fungal infection is less, and the cost is comparable to uh, other market inhalers. That's why these are the merits. In older patient, its technique becomes some cumbersome. So in old people, I don't use because of its clockwise and anti-clockwise mechanism. But in younger people, these are the merits.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think we have no more questions, so we can end this session. Uh, so thank you all the participants for your patient listening, and thank you, Dr. Rathi, that you took some time out of your busy schedule and gave this presentation, sir. So needless to mention, it was a wonderful presentation, sir. Thank you and have a great evening, sir.
Thank you, dear, and thank you to all my dear colleagues for the patience listening.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, dear.